Hi, welcome to Board Gems. As I collect board games, I tend to stumble upon different editions of the same game. And so I thought I'd prepare a short little video comparing two editions or more side by side. For this video, we're covering Dayui. Now there are two main editions of Dayui. On the left, we see the Kosmos edition, which came out originally, I think, in 1999. And on the right, you see the edition from a company called Goliath out of the Netherlands. And that one, I think, first came out late 2000s, maybe 2007, 2008, or thereabouts. There are actually several different editions of the Goliath. They're all basically the same inside, but they have slightly different covers. You'll see the one on the left, the Kosmos German edition, it sort of has a light, what I call a light glazing of a setting, which is, it has enough setting to kind of remind you or to evoke a particular theme and setting, but it doesn't hit you over the head with it. Whereas the edition on the right kind of goes, I think, a little bit too far toward the direction of exoticism, orientalism. Just the idea of Dayui is not a Chinese game, to be clear. You'll see it kind of hits you over the head with the caricatures on the bottom of the box. Now, I should point out that the box on the left is a standard square box, like Ticket to Ride. So it's a very standard square box. The Goliath edition, you can see, is a little bit shorter and it's a little bit longer. It's lined up on the left-hand side and it just extends a bit on the right, and it's a little bit thinner than the original. Both games come with drawstring bags to hold the tiles. The bag with the original, the one on the left, is bigger, but the pieces are bigger, so that makes sense. It's also a tiny bit transparent, which I don't personally think is a big deal, but if you're playing with people who are like looking around the outside of the bag trying to find the particular piece they need, maybe consider playing with different people. The one on the right is a little bit smaller, but that's fine because the pieces are smaller. It has the logo on it, which is sort of, it's not embroidered, it's kind of glued on and already has kind of come loose. It's not super high quality, but it does the job. Now, the edition of the original that I have is not German, it's the English edition from Rio Grande Games. So it only has English rules in the box, and you can see they're the same size as the box. They're these big square rules. The Goliath edition being international, it does this thing where it shows all the diagrams on one page, and then all the text are on different pages for different languages. So no matter what language you're reading, you always flip back to that first page with the diagrams. All the languages reference the same diagrams. Now let's have a look at the boards. The original edition on the left, the newer edition, I guess it's not that new anymore, on the right. And you can see the left is bigger than necessary. It has a lot of kind of flourish all around the outside, which makes it a much larger board than is technically necessary to play the game. And in the Goliath edition, the board is just big enough to have the play area and just a border around it, a thin border. The original edition was a 19 by 19 grid, and the newer edition is 18 by 18. So how does this affect gameplay? Not a lot. You'll see that on the original, each side has 3 spots. These are worth double points. And in the newer edition, which is a plastic board that is 2 pieces, it fits together, you'll see the bumps on the border of the board that show the double valued points. And you can see there's 4 points per side instead of the 3. So they had to change the rules slightly to accommodate the even numbers of spaces compared to the odd number in the original. And I should also say that the original is cardboard and flat. The newer edition is plastic, and it has pits that the pieces will fit in. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the pieces on the grid. And here you can see the pits in the Goliath edition to keep the pieces in place, whereas in the original the pieces just sit on top of the cardboard The styles are very different. The original is kind of like well, it's like a domino white. It's not as bright. I mean, this is picking up the flash, but but it's, yeah, they're white tiles with these blue lines, and on the one on the right is a very bright red, which is not going to appeal to everybody. Now you can see that the pieces are a little bit smaller in the new edition, and besides the size, the white pieces from the original are much heftier. They're a thicker, a dense, a domino-like plastic. The red ones from the newer edition are smaller and thinner, and they are lighter. They have almost like a hollow kind of feel to them. Again, does the job completely well, but there is a nice feel to the originals. One feature of the game that is not always used is that it is possible to tell on the back what type of piece it is, whether it has 3 branches that go to 3 different sides or not. It really doesn't show up very well in the original, even in person. You see that the upper white tile has very faint rings on the center of the back of the tile, and the lower one does not. The newer edition, you can see the rings are much more noticeable. In the rules, originally you are expected to stack all the tiles into a sort of a cube, and then you're only allowed to draw from a particular side of the cube, and you can decide whether you want to draw one with a ring or not. You can do the same thing with the newer edition. You just put all the tiles face down so you can see which ones have rings, which don't. Not exactly the same, but honestly, most people, I would venture to guess, don't play it that way. They just dump all the pieces in the bag and draw one randomly. That's it. Thanks for watching. Remember, older games like Daiui don't stop being good just because newer games come out. Take care.